The people, the headlines, the issues impacting you, all on This Week in Cincinnati on 9 on Your Side.
Welcome back. This morning we're speaking with Hamilton County Commissioner Chris Monzel. Also with us are WCPO reporters Paula Christian and Amanda Seitz. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
We've already had a lively discussion, but I want to get into the function of government. Sometimes it's answering the call, what needs to be done, but also it's building. And is that kind of where FC Cincinnati fits into the picture, and why is that important?
Well, I think FC Cincinnati brings a couple of things, to our community. One is a sense of pride. It's exciting to see, a sport team do so successful as they have over the first 2 seasons, and just that whole kind of civic pride of Cincinnati. So I think there's an excitement there. But then there's the other aspect of economic development. It brings people coming down and going to our restaurants and to our bars and parking in our parking garages. I mean, that helps
revenue.
bring exactly, into the government's coffers. So to me, that's a positive thing that we need to look at, as well as helping out other businesses, and making them successful. So to me, it's kind of a twofold thing that I think FC brings to Hamilton County.
We've heard a lot of conversation, obviously, about the West End.
Yep.
You guys really didn't get the chance to weigh in on that.
No.
What are you thinking now about what you're hearing? We've kind of heard a lot of residents who are very upset about the proposal.
I think it's a tough process whenever you talk any of these issues from stadiums to jails of how do you go about doing it. And I think you need that community input. And I think it's been very good in regards to what's happened over the past few weeks of going into community, going to the school board meetings, going to community council meetings. I mean, that's very transparent, and I think that's a good thing. From a standpoint from us at the county, we have not really been involved per se, because it's more of a city and a community issue within the West End. But from us, I think we're happy no matter where it is, except we went on this side of the river. Not northern Kentucky, but from that standpoint, Oakley or West End is good for Hamilton County. And
we've heard Jeff Birding, the general manager of FC Cincinnati, say that no new parking garage will be needed. Does that mean you guys are off the hook for the $15 million?
We're here to help where we can, but I think for us, parking made the most sense. We have one of the largest parking garages in the world down on the riverfront between Paul Brown Stadium and Great American Ballpark. That is bringing in revenue that we can utilize on more parking, and we're expanding down there, but we can utilize it here for the FC Stadium in Oakley as an opportunity to actually make money instead of just giving a handout to teams as we've done in the past. We tried to do something different here, which I think would be beneficial to whatever community goes in. Maybe they don't need it in the West End. We don't know that right now, but definitely Oakley could utilize parking with the Mad Tree Brewery, with Crossroads, with the Krogers, the apartments that are going in there. There's going to be a lot of traffic there if the stadium goes in that location, and they could definitely utilize a 1,000 parking space garage.
What are you going to do if once your agreement, doesn't your agreement expire next week?
It does. It expires next Wednesday. So
what do you do?
Well, my hope is we have some decision from LLS by next Wednesday. So, and
okay.
once that happens, we'll be moving forward. But until then, I'm not sure what we're going to be doing. So, from that standpoint, but hopefully we find out sooner than later.
All right, I want to shift the discussion just a little bit. When we talked about HQ2 and why we did not make the cut, so to speak, a lot of that was due to the fact that transportation is at a deficit.
That's what I've been hearing a lot of.
And so how do you fix that?
Well, I think first I'd like to really hear from Amazon of why we did not make it. And I don't think we've ever gotten that feedback directly, because if you look at the request for proposals that they put out, our population density itself was barely enough to make the bid, because we had to join with Northern Kentucky and Dayton in order to get the million plus population. So for me, I don't know if it was a transportation issue, but rather we just didn't really have the population density that Amazon was looking for. So that's one question I'd like to know, is why from Amazon did we not make that cut? Was it transportation? Was it population? Was it education? What were the reasons behind it? So to me, everybody's kind of jumping on the transportation issue, which I understand. There's definitely issues with our transportation.
And what are the issues that you've identified?
Well, it's kind of funny. I tell this story a lot. So I live up in the Tri-County area, up in the northern part of the county. And when we moved up there, my oldest son wanted to go to Kings Island. And I said, well, I can't drive you to Kings Island. Why don't you find out how to take a bus to get Kings Island? So sure enough, he got on the internet, found out the bus schedule, and he'd have to take an hour and 20 minutes from Tri-County to get to Kings Island, which is about a 20-minute drive, right?
Yeah.
But he had to catch a bus that went all the way down to Government Square, transfer out, go all the way back up to Kings Island. So that story tells you that our system is not very user-friendly and really not set up to get people from point A to point B.
Efficiently.
Correct. And so for me, I think, and I've been telling this to the folks at SORTA and to the folks at the county, that we just need a clean sheet of paper. We should lay out what we actually need and the routes that we need them. We can't just take what we have and try to twist it and make it better. Let's blow this whole thing up. Let's try and figure out what is the right transportation system that we need for our community, and not try to put a square peg in a round hole, but rather build something that's going to make sense and not just throw money at a problem that says, well, just keep doing what we're doing and it's going to work its way out. So
speaking of the money, they did recently find $7.9 million of unused funds.
Right.
What are your thoughts there on that?
Well, it's very troubling that you would have an issue of potentially running a huge deficit, and then all of a sudden, oh, by the way, we found almost $8 million of unused money.
When they were going to
go to the voters to ask for a sales tax increase. So to me, it's definitely does not look good from a standpoint of using taxpayer money efficiently or wisely if they can keep track of that amount of money. So to me, that's troublesome. And I think that's something that they need to work on. And before they even go to the voters to ask for anything, they got to have a plan. Got to be able to explain what that plan will benefit the person out in Cheviot or over in Reading or throughout the community. But then also, how are they going to make it more efficient and more effective? I mean, to me, honestly, I challenge them to say, use your budget right now, blow it up. What can you do with that? And prove to us that that's going to be something beneficial before you come to the taxpayers and ask for another sales tax increase.
Well, we have so much more to talk about, so you're not done yet, all right? We'll continue our conversation with Hamilton County Commissioner Chris Monzel in just a moment.
The people, the headlines, the issues impacting you, all on This Week in Cincinnati on 9 on Your Side. The people, the headlines, the issues impacting you, all on This Week in Cincinnati on 9 on Your Side.
And welcome back to you. This morning, we're speaking with Hamilton County Commissioner Chris Monzel. Also with us are WCPO reporters Paula Christian and Amanda Seitz. No conversation would be complete without talk about elections, right?
Exactly.
And you are running for re-election this year.
That's correct.
You've had a year now where you were the solo Republican after really being in charge for a
6
while.
years.
Yeah. What has that been like, and what have you had to change things about your approach and style, adapt?
So, I mean, one, when you're in charge and you're running the meetings, it's definitely different now that you're not. And so that's been a definite change that I've tried to get accustomed to. And I was like that on city council for 9 years, so I was in the minority there. So that's been just a little different, the experience with regards to meetings. But style-wise, I think I've always been trying to figure out what is the best thing for the citizen. Regardless of where it comes from or whose idea it is. If it's truly the best thing for the citizens, our taxpayers, then we should do it. And I think we've been working well together on that.
You guys have had a lot of unanimous votes.
We had, which is good, because I think to me, I hope I bring a different point of view. Being an engineer and a Republican, I'm definitely different than my fellow colleagues, and I think I try to bring out a different viewpoint that I hope adds to the conversation and be able to at least bring us to somewhere more in the center that I think the community wants. And I think that what people want is more non-partisan cooperation than partisan bickering. And I think we've been doing it. And we can agree to disagree, which I think is something that's important too, that we don't always agree, but when we do it in a professional, business-like manner that's collegial, and afterwards you can still go up and shake their hand and be okay with it. And I think that's been working well for us at the county.
So how do you think it will be running as a Republican in this county this time as opposed to in prior years, especially with the big blue wave of Democrats we're expecting to turn out this year to vote?
I'm going to run like it's been any other year. From my first run on Cincinnati City Council to today, I'm just going to go out to the voters and talk to them and hear them and tell them what I've been doing and meet them and be able to explain just the role that I've played at the county as well as when I was on Cincinnati City Council and how important it is to have that alternative viewpoint, so to speak, to be able to kind of be a sanity check on what's happening at the county and just work hard, like I've always done, knocking on doors and going to meeting folks. I've already started and we'll continue to do it. Our fish fry tours kicking off here tonight, so we're going to be working all the way through till the election day. So it's going to be exciting, a lot of fun.
Is the door-to-door work what wins it?
Oh, I definitely have always been a heavy believer in just getting out and meeting the voters. You know, from the parades to the festivals to the door-to-door. To me, that is where the rubber meets the road. And you really get the feedback, you know, from folks of saying what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. And to me, that's what's so great, I think, about our American democracy is that whole process. Because it really does go out and get a sense of what people are expecting from you when you're in elective office. And I'm honored to have been elected, you know, for the last several years on the county commission to represent the people of Hamilton County. And to me, to continue to do that, I need to go talk to them, and they know that. And we do it all the time. I go out to community council meetings and different neighborhood group meetings all the time to get that feedback, as it's very important.
Chris Monzel, thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me this morning.
And ladies, always, thank you.
Thank you.
So.